Hey, and welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast, episode 14, I believe. I'm here with Cody, Richie, and Luke, and I'm Graham, and I'm sure anybody who knows anything about, big off-road knows that King of Hammers is going on, and so we figured we'd do a
Praise
lighthearted...
Jesus, the Holy Week is here.
We figured we'd do a lighthearted podcast, just talking about the stuff we've seen so far, and our thoughts on it, and just general commentary on what's going on down there.
So now, right off the bat, who here would actually run a vehicle? Not necessarily their own, but who would run a vehicle in this race? Because I don't know if I fucking would.
Oh yeah, fucking gonna send her, bud.
Dude,
You only live one
the
time.
Keys, if someone gave me the keys to a racer, they wouldn't get the keys back. Let's just put it that way.
Dude, I don't know. These things they're fucking doing like 100 through whoops the size of like to your waist. That's nuts.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
well,
but I mean,
that's where
the
the big
vehicles
money
are
is.
built for it.
True, I guess you're right. I guess there's a difference between a $500 shit box to a $80,000 buggy, you know?
Yeah, a couple of zeros at minimum.
And things like purpose built to just absolutely demolish in the whoops and in the rocks. It's just absolutely insane. Every single one of them is so cool.
So, here's a dumb question for you. I was thinking about this. Wheeling something like a 4800 car in our trails, I feel like that would almost be too much. Like, I feel like I would want to have less horsepower than they're running around with to make it so it hurts less when I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Imagine dodging trees in a 900 horsepower truck. That'd be terrifying. I'd rather go to the desert than do that around here. That's fucked.
Yeah, man. Like,
I think you'd be dodging more than wheeling.
Seriously.
Oh, God. But even then, it's like, these rigs are fucking nuts compared to the shit that we play around with.
Yeah, that is no joke. A lot of people running trailing arm setups. Are they like sturdier than like your average like suspension
It's
over
a
axle?
tuning thing. It's a tuning
Oh.
thing. You get your coil over, one shock to tune, and then you get another shock to deal with the finite rebound and dampening stuff, and yeah.
Huh.
Also on buggy chassis, if I remember correctly, it allows you to shorten the chassis up because instead of having to have your link mount on the rear axle can be behind the rear of the buggy.
Oh, that kind of makes sense.
So you could mount your spare tire effectively right over the rear axle and have all of the body weight stop right over the top of that axle.
Yeah, well, you see that in the bomber chassis, right?
Yeah.
I think a couple
That's
of other
cool.
guys do it too.
Yeah.
I just love watching how all four corners just soak up all the bumps with the suspension.
You know what's super surprising? That brings up my kind of thought point here. Is there's a few buggies running ORIs.
Yep.
Like, yeah, but I mean, do they have coolers on them or something? How do they stop like fade?
If I had to venture a guess, they're running the remote reservoir options for sure. At least that would be my theory. Otherwise, I can't see your standard like ORI holding up all that well. From everyone that I've talked to that's ran them says that they fade out after a little while. You can still highway drive them just fine, but I'm not sure if I would want that while I'm racing KOH. I
Yeah,
personally would rather have the coilover.
Oh, absolutely. It'd be.
Who's going to run ORIs? We really have no input on ORIs until somebody runs them. Cody, I nominate you.
I just gotta.
I was
get the
just gonna
cash
say
flow.
that.
I mean, this new credit card, I could just swipe and just have them in the
Hey,
mail a
man.
few weeks later.
I
I
heard
don't know.
I heard a rumor that there's a bunch of apes riding GME to the moon.
Oh yeah, if
Um,
only I bought it back when it was $3, not $398 or something that it is now, which is
Ah,
fucking insane.
dude, don't worry about it. They tanked it all the way down to 90. So,
Wow. Oh yeah, because what was it? Robinhood was allowing sales but not buying, or you were allowed to sell but you couldn't buy or
yeah,
something of the
something
sort.
like that.
Well,
I
that
don't
and the
know.
internet hype sort of died on it. I mean,
Ah.
the hype began because a guy bought into it like a year ago, and everybody thought he was a fucking retard, and he's
How the
to
fuck
make
did
a
we get
shitload
here
of money
from
off of it.
KoH?
Can we say that word? Is that word? Is that?
Well, we just did. So if we edit it out, we can. But
No,
That's
it's
not
fine.
You
very
guys are fucking
politically
madmen.
correct of you, man. I am now triggered.
But
listen, anybody who buys that much
Game-
worth of he bought $750,000 worth of a dying company's stock. How
That's
do you have the
insane.
foresight? You can't have the foresight. You have to be retarded to buy
No,
that much
honest-
stock on a
honestly,
dying
you're
company.
right. Especially for the fact of that, like, how it has to be at least 95% of most gaming is now done online. So if you really think of it like a real world concept, GameStop is pretty inept. Like, there's
I'm
no point for
sorry,
it.
I'm gonna play the autistic card because that's the only way to bypass retard and still hit the mark like that. I mean, he made some fucking serious bank off of that. Even right now, he's still fucking rolling in it with it being at $90.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I don't.
absolutely.
It makes me think there was almost like some sort of inside deal going on. You know?
Well, it
Maybe
wasn't
that's
even
just-
so much the inside deal, but there's been a lot of stuff that's been changing, and at GameStop, I think they brought on a bunch of tech people who have good track records. So he was hyping it up for that, and then there was some short report or something that came out that said the stock was shorted like 140%. So that's
Yeah.
when the hype train took off. It's going to be interesting to see what happens now that there's a bunch of people that have bought into it and are holding it. If there is such a markup on the shorts.
What if it's really just Biden is seriously into gaming and was like, put his little magic sauce onto it, was like video games and made the stock go
That
up.
is exactly what happened.
Oh my god.
Speaking of
Oh,
which,
that is a cool little fucking rig.
Yeah, that's Von Gitten's rig, actually. That's the new Bronco, a body that they put onto it.
Yeah, that
I
thing's
fucking
sick.
dig that.
Yep. It's funny because the people listening have no correlation to actually what's going on. So pretty much right now we're watching
Oh,
the qualifying.
For
Of the
our
fo-
listeners, it's a box, but a pretty box.
Okay, anyway. We're watching the qualifying of the 4400 series, and Von Gitten's new fiberglass body just came up on the screen, and he's running that thing hot right now. And it looks good too. The green and the blue with the black, that's a saucy little combo. I like that.
I like the color scheme. Honestly, the body I think is dorky. There's not enough tube showing.
Yeah,
my
but
opinion, right?
if you were getting the cash flow from Ford trying
Yeah,
to show off the
true,
new Bronco, you
Yeah.
it's hard to
It's
complain.
not bad looking. Don't get me wrong. Like it definitely portrays
A
the
Cherokee.
look of not a Cherokee, no,
It's
of a
sort of-
Bronco that's bobbed and dovetailed. Like
It's a Cherokee, pretty much.
You know,
But-
on that note, though, I'd love to do like an early Bronco style buggy, but it
No,
would have to be.
fuck Broncos.
Why?
Hang on, hold up. It would have to be the only parts that are Bronco are like crumpled bits of fender and hood with the
Okay,
front grille cut down. I might put a Ford engine in it and all that, but you know, otherwise it would be entirely tube chassis.
Broncos are really cool, but the first gen Bronco that we have to move in and out of Jacob's shop literally causes me nothing but pain. So I don't like Broncos for that reason.
Yeah, but why does it cause you nothing but
So-
pain?
The clutch
Hold-
sucks. It's 3 on the tree, which is fine. 3 on the tree is cool as fuck, but the clutch is just absolutely trashed. It's got like the worst 6-cylinder I think ever made. You've got to rev that thing to the fucking moon to get it to move. And on top of all that, half the time it doesn't start because it's a shitty carburetor and it's cold as
Ryan
fuck
is
outside.
upset right now. I physically can feel
No.
Ryan hurting from you talking shit.
I was just gonna say the same
No,
thing.
The later ones are probably better, but this one in particular just absolutely sours me on Broncos. I love the body style. I love just the general look. And if you were to cut one up and dovetail it do some cool stuff to it, I'm sure they'd be awesome. But this one, I hate it. So it's just sorry, Ryan.
Frank, just don't be surprised if the next time we go wheeling with Ryan, he just comes up and fucking socks. All right, don't be surprised,
dude. He's been flexing that big taser of his ever since like 2019. We were talking about getting tased up at Badlands. Maybe he'll just give you a little zap, you know? Just
It's no big deal. I've stuck my wall outlet before a couple times too. So I'm
I give Ford a lot of credit for kind of almost stealing Jeep's idea of keeping a known, perfectly like decent vehicle and just making it current, but also badass in the same concept.
Well,
like,
they did that with the Mustang too, and like, hang on,
they
hold
made it
the
into an
fuck up.
SUV.
Hold the fuck up. I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about if you compare a 2004 and a 2000 and I think it was 6 Mustang, two totally different vehicles. I remember when they first did that, I thought that was cool as shit.
But they've been congruent.
They've been congruent, but going from something that looks like a cheese wedge to something that almost resembles the older, just kind of like what Dodge did bringing back the Challenger. They did throw it back with new modern styling. It's not the same vehicle whatsoever, but it's cool and it's different compared to what it was.
Yes, I totally agree with that. But I give them the props because sorry. Guy just overran a berm. so I thought he was rolling over. So I give them props that they decided to go the enthusiast route. Kind of like when Dodge did it with their Hellcat. They wanted a driver to be driving this vehicle, but then there's also the everyday person who gets to hop in a Bronco and never go off-roading, but has the same capabilities. So I give them a lot of props that they really are pushing that where it's
and they've been pushing that with like the Raptors too. I think those have been a very cool product for what they are. They're not something where like you or I would be all that interested in it, but if you've got, a couple of grand to spare and you want to have something to go whip around the desert, that thing would be fun as hell.
Yep.
True. I mean, that's very true.
But kind of a little devil's advocate here. I've been hearing more and more stories about how different manufacturers that produce more quote-unquote fun daily drivers are voiding warranties for people doing shit that the vehicle was advertised for.
Yeah, well, that always happens.
Yeah.
I mean, you also have
You don't buy a
Ford's
fun vehicle for the warranty. I'm just gonna say that right now.
When Ford did their the Focus RS, they literally were having to come back with warranties because people weren't driving them hard enough. So it's kind of this weird line that you have to play. Like the rear differentials really had a problem where if you weren't, no, was it transmission? No, the rear diffs were overheating. The heads were having problems because they were clogging up because I believe it's direct injection. It's not through the intake, so it was causing a lot of carbon buildup on the valves. It was because people literally were just not driving the car hard enough. So I guess you got to play that like line.
Italian tune-up. So take it for warranty, just drive the piss out of it, and then give it back.
Perfect.
Yep. Solve the problems.
Well, it's like I know a big thing that happened like a week or two ago was a lady in a Gladiator, I think it was, had her warranty voided because there was mud on the undercarriage.
That sounds like cap
not
to
a lot.
me.
Not a lot, just a little bit. You know,
So,
of
all
course
I'm
you
gonna
don't get
say-
the full story, but it's like, what the fuck?
If it was a lease, then yeah, I could see that being a thing. But if they own it, I don't know. That sounds like there's some extra shit
From
behind
my understanding of the story, she owned it.
Huh.
Well, then I would be calling up the chain of command all the way up to the corporate offices and getting someone's phone number and
Hell yeah,
making a stink.
This shit's got a trail rated badge, and I can't, I can't take it on the trail.
In the middle of doing all that, but it's just that's like the most recent example. You know, I remember a few stories about different Raptors and shit. having the similar situations happen to it.
Oh,
Huh.
on a side note to that, I don't know if I told you guys, but I bought an electric locker.
For your truck?
No, it came in the truck. I didn't know about that.
Oh. I was like,
Just
wait,
fucking
what?
around. I've been having issues with the damn four-wheel drive. I think it's just the sensor on the motor,
Uh-huh.
which, by the way, you have to drop the cross member and transmission mount off to get at, which is what I
Oh,
was actively
God.
working on before this, and then I realized that I had to put it back together because there was no way I was doing that in my driveway.
Mm.
But side note to that, or going back to what I was saying, yeah, I popped out the four-wheel drive knob and it locked the rear axle, and it is locked solid. It does an excellent burn dog.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know what those guys in KoH are running for lockers. I would imagine it's probably like all Yukon or Detroit, and it's got to be like, I don't know if they're air lockers. That's a
I
good question.
Question. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what would be the most like useful application? Probably
If
an
it
air or
was-
electric, right?
If it was me, I would probably go with something like the Yukon Zip or not the Graham, you're smart. What's the Yukon that acts like a Detroit?
I think it's the zip blocker. You're right.
I would be going for one of them. I just like stupid simple. I put foot down, it lock.
Well, the rear would definitely have to be posi or
But
like
would that
a
affect them
spool.
in the whoops? Weirdly, in the back, I don't think it would matter, but maybe
I
in
feel
the
like
front,
that.
on a selectable.
Well, you gotta think about it. If they're cornering hard like that, it has to be unlocked in the front. There's no way that you're gonna corner that hard and get that good of stability, either A through the whoops or through corners with a locked
I
front
don't.
end.
I don't think there are rules. I'm sure everybody does it differently.
Oh yeah, but at the same time, they might have just disengaged the front axle. They,
Mm.
you know,
Hmm.
Atlas is, so just pop the front axle out and it won't lock if there's no torque going to it.
I don't know why you'd want to do that though. I'd feel like you'd want all four wheels, given all the beans with the motors they've got in those things.
Well, what if they do a
Mm.
posi front end? So that way it has a little bit of slip. So that way you can kind of push through it in the corners, but without it actually like
I just
Like, it'll-
can't see them wanting to do that. I would say either it's got to be a really strong auto or a good air locker or even a fucking spool at that point with some of them what they're putting down for horse ponies.
Yeah, if we're talking about like high speed desert racing, then yeah, maybe. But for the rock crawling sections, you don't want a posi.
yeah,
No
I guess
way.
you're right. I'm just trying to.
I almost feel as though maybe an electric locker would be more ideal.
I'm kind of with Kish on that for the idea of an airline running underneath the vehicle or running down and having like any form of pinch points, anything like that. That's a liability compared to a wire that you can secure better.
But
I
then
wonder-
Yeah, that's
Again.
my train of thought.
electric lockers, it's just magic lightning making your locker lock up, right? If you don't get the magic lightning,
Yeah.
you don't get locker. So why not just use a
Hmm.
mechanical, right?
Because
Yeah, I mean,
If I'm-
I'm all for having both.
if I'm doing 100 miles an hour through a whoop section, I don't want a locker in the front.
I know. I'm sure it's different for each rig. That's sort of the fun thing about the Ultra 4 cars is they can be so different, right? I don't know the exact regulations, but I know it's pretty lenient to some extent, especially in the
But see, I also feel as though if you're doing 100 miles an hour through the whoops and you put it in a two-wheel drive to do that, I feel like you wouldn't have an issue of like having too many horse ponies for too few drive wheels. You know
No,
what I
no.
mean?
I'm not saying I'm saying for controllability. Having like you're not going to be able to turn as well with the front locker compared to an open diff, not two-wheel drive to four-wheel drive.
I think it's fine.
All right, hey.
I think it's fine.
Whatever.
So the only thing
Whatever you
I'm gonna
say.
throw out there is that I don't have an issue at high speed in my shit box with my front locker setup compared to how it was driving the what the fuck was it? The welded front axle that was under Ducky. And
Huh. So, Graham, have you done 90 through whoops with your welded front or whatever you have in the front there?
No. I'm sure it would be okay. No, I don't know if it would actually. When you're going that fast and your wheels are locked up, it could definitely fuck you up. I wouldn't want to have.
I'm just gonna say that personally, I wouldn't trust any of our current rigs doing 90 through
I mean, there's
whoops.
a reason the desert racing rigs are two-wheel drive. Like, that's a thing.
True. That's very true.
I don't know.
Yeah, because
enough
like
about desert
Baja
racing.
compared to this is totally different. So I guess
We should all just move out to the desert and get desert racers. I think that'd be a better.
I don't
way
like
to
the
spend our
heat.
time.
My
I don't
fat
either.
rolls don't like heat. You know, the snow is kind of nice.
something, take me home, West Virginia, something.
Oh, I could start singing that. I'll cue it up right now.
There's no deserts in West Virginia.
How about
I know,
Cody?
that's where I'm trying to go though at this point.
Might as well
Um,
like,
you know,
They don't
I'm
have
su-
any like vehicle laws. It's like goddamn Wild West out there. You can drive a buggy down the road.
that's refreshing.
yeah, especially in
I
Arizona.
just
or
want to
anything
drive
like
a
that.
goddamn refrigerator down the road.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
throwback to an
refrigerator.
earlier comment from you, Cody.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
You know what surprises me? That this is in California. Barely anybody's wearing masks right now.
Mm.
I mean, granted, yeah, you're outside. It's probably following along the lines of whatever they want you to do in California. But you would think that people don't give a shit. They're going.
Then again,
as-
we are talking about rednecks from every part of the continental United States going out to the desert to get drunk, if we are being brutally honest about the whole KOH-esque theme. So they go and party, and they are there to party. Mask be damned.
Yeah, I guess they were saying that anybody going in has to get COVID tested if you're going into Hammertown. If you don't go into the Hammertown, then you don't have to get tested. So that's probably maybe why, because they're like, oh, if you're here, you're tested, you're good. If you're here, like, maybe that's what they kind of play around with. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That and plus, I mean, they're outside in the desert.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Too.
I don't give a shit. I think masks are stupid, but I'll still do it because it makes other people happy. I'm just saying in the sense of like the California sport rules or whatever the fuck it's called. I'm surprised they're
Also,
not just
I
like,
will be brutally honest, there's a lot of people around here that are just not caring. Like, they used to be, you have to wear a mask at work, and now they're kind of like, you don't need to wear that at your press, or at your bench, or working on this. Just, we'll yell at you from 6 feet away.
they'll hit you with the broom. They're like, hey, put that on.
That's pretty much how it is
Well,
at my
this-
place to work. Just if you're near anyone, put a mask on.
So,
What were you saying, Graham?
I mean, at this point, it's all just
Bullshit.
flair. I don't think there's any. It didn't help anybody, and I truly believe it didn't stop anything that happened. Overall, it wasn't enough of a difference. Your mask didn't make
Gotcha.
enough of a difference, right?
well,
True,
that's because
true.
you're not wearing 3, but I feel like we should circle it back to KOH.
This is an off-road podcast, not a
So-
3, you need to pull
Right,
those numbers up,
podcast.
bucko. Try wearing 5.
So the
Oh.
other night when we did the
Oh.
watch party, later on, me and Graham and a few other people were watching the shootout. During the shootout, there was also the laser nut crawler course. That trail or whatever that they were trying to convince people to finish and name was it was fucking insane.
just
The
dumb.
first section was cool. It was kind of a nice crawly uphill section.
Well,
then
they
you
only
came
had,
around.
like 5 minutes, not even.
Yeah, and then you came into a section where there was 6 boulders that were perfectly spaced apart, and then it kind of went up and around to the right. It was insane. I mean, I don't even know how you look at that and go, oh yeah, that's a trail. Let's fucking send them up that.
I mean, we were watching laser nut chassis after laser nut chassis just get twisted up, like wheels like jammed in rocks to the point where the only way to get them out was to winch them out and hope the wheel came with it and didn't snap off in the rock. Just time
Very
after
true.
time, probably for like 2 hours, just consistently nobody made it past this one, the 1 point before. One guy made it up.
Haynes, I forget his first name, but whoever Haynes, one of the builders at Laser Nut, was one of the guys that made it up.
I thought it was it Jesse?
Jesse Haynes, maybe? I think it was Jesse Haynes. Yes, no, it definitely was Jesse Haynes. He made it up a good portion, but then, dude.
Yeah, it's just I don't. I wish somebody made it through so I could see the line and then say, yeah, you could do that. You just have to not be an idiot. But nobody made it through, so I don't know.
It was so upsetting. So one of my favorite visually appealing rigs and like seeing it out there was Pretty Penny, and I've always looked at it on the internet just like, damn, I want that. Like that thing's sick. That thing's sick. And then watching it get absolutely crushed by that trail, seeing all these other rigs that were definitely not as well
the
built.
ketchup bottle rig beat it.
Yeah. Like, see that thing like barely make it up. It's just like, oh, I don't want that thing now. Like, it's insane.
The driver makes a difference. I know they had it was a
17-year-old kid.
He wasn't a, long time rock crawler.
True,
Dude,
but then you have the 12-year-old kid in the
driver
bouncer.
makes a difference. It's all about the driver mod, but nothing. Beginner's luck sometimes works.
I mean, that's hard to say because then there was the kid who's 13 now. Last year he was 12. I was watching some videos before it. Forget his name, but he has a bouncer that has. I think he was the only quote unquote like leading trailing arms or leading arms rig or whatever it was.
Trailing arms up front.
No, so leading arms in the front.
They're still trailing arms or something.
They called it leading arms. Either way, he made it within only like 8 seconds of the fastest guy. So, his skill to. I guess it's right no matter what. It's time, but also
the difference between his rig this year and last year. I forget what's his name.
I'd have to look it up. I'm not too sure.
Dude, you are batting outside of my wheelhouse because I go to work at 4 a.m, so I didn't get to stay up and watch anything on the shootout. I caught a couple of clips from it, and that was it. But that watch party was sick.
Yeah, it was a cool rig. I mean, I wish I had that rig when I was 13 years old. Hell, I'd take it now.
But that was a very fun thing that you set up, Luke. That was fun being able to kind of sit in here, chill with everybody, chat it up while watching some really cool. Even though it was qualifying, it was still a fun time. And then watching the shootout afterwards was really cool. Being able to talk shit and laugh about people doing dumb things was very fun.
I don't think that
clips from.
Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Sorry, Luke.
Oh.
All right. Well, in that case, I don't think we really talked to like super boomers and shakers of the off-road world, but we talked to really genuinely good people, and it was a shit ton of fun sitting in here with them and a couple of people that listen and just like shitting around, playing video games and watching KoH. Solid.
That was funny because when you were playing War Thunder, Hackbar was like, Luke, crash the plane, and you're like, no, I'm doing something. He's like, crash the plane. You're like, no, dude, I'm not crashing the plane.
And then I crashed the plane.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
That was a good one.
I was gonna say that clips from the shootout are pretty much the biggest thing that gets circulated all year long.
Yeah.
From King of Hammers.
We're gonna be doing.
No one cares about the fucking races.
What about the fight?
Well, yeah. Well, the fights go with it.
I didn't understand the context of the fight. I don't know if the audio was just.
Wait, there's a fight?
Yeah, there was a fight between like 6 or 7, 8 people. It was like.
Are you talking about last year?
No, this year.
Oh, I didn't know
posted
about
in
a fight
Beat Not
this
Baby.
year?
Yeah, the Beat Not Babied Facebook group.
Oh God, that's awesome.
I didn't know about a fight this year.
So I know that Hackbar said that he was going to be hanging out on Saturday to watch the big race with us. Anyone else here going to be chilling on Saturday?
What time does it start?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to show up around probably sometime in the afternoon. They're running on Cali time. We caught the UTV race with like an hour left when we logged on at 7 last time. So I'm gonna guess like 6 o'clock, maybe 5
Huh.
o'clock.
I'll have to
Right.
see if I got time. I'm down to hang out for sure.
Yeah, it should be doable. Worst case, I'll bring a laptop over to Jacob's shop and we'll set it up.
Yeah, of course the IT nerd has a goddamn spare laptop just chilling that he can like throw in the bathroom at the shop.
Yeah.
What?
It's not the bathroom, it's the office. We put in the office. I'm gonna have to tether to
Jesus.
my phone, but it's okay. It's worth it.
Yeah, fucking BCO, there ain't no fucking office, anything fancy. We
What are
only
you
got
talking about?
tube
The
and
office
two
is literally full of
fingers.
fucking mouse shit until I sweeped it the other week. Just covered in
Until I
papers that nobody's
sweep
touched.
shit.
Jacob refuses to move the papers because he doesn't know what they are. I was like, just throw them out. If you don't know what they are, just throw them out. And
Yeah, if you didn't need
Lamau,
them.
you throw out your
if you don't know
fucking
what they are,
J
then they're
truck
not important.
terminal.
Just get rid of them. Not always the case. Do not throw out papers you don't know what they are.
Trying to figure. I'm actually trying to find a video from last year to see if there's any highlights or something because this is my first year actually catching King of Hammers. Funny enough, I've never watched any of these videos before, so it's really cool and exciting to see all the different shit going on. See all the crazy amounts of people there. Like it's fucking nuts.
Oh, I love it. I've watched it the past 3, maybe 4 years.
Wow.
Like the whole week, because before when I was working in an office, I have 2 monitors. I just put it on one monitor, and people would be like, "Whoa, what is that?" I'd be like, "Yo, this is off-road racing. It's really cool. Look at them." And they wouldn't understand, but it's an excuse for me to have, one monitor with my sport of choice on it versus, basketball or something stupid, which I don't give a fuck about.
See,
So
have you ever watched any like the Erzberg races for the moto, like enduro style racing? See, I used to like live stream that while I was in college and all that while I was doing all the shit I had to do. And now that's insane. It's literally like a week-long rally race, if you will, but it's like the hardest racing of dirt bikes that you can possibly do. And it's called, I believe last year's was from sea to sky, and it literally started on a beach and you went to the tippity top of a mountain. It was nuts. And like that's what I was always used to watch. So now watching this, it's like, okay, I can kind of get it. Like I understand the same point, but dude, these dudes are moving.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think I've caught at least 1 or 2 races every year for the last 6 or 7 years.
Huh.
So I gotta ask, what's everyone's favorite races to watch? I'm partial to the 46 and 4400s.
those are the stock classes, right?
No,
One's
4400s.
stock and I like the stock and I like the super mod.
Yeah.
So
Two totally opposite ends of the spectrum.
I'm in the same boat as you, Luke.
I liked the Class 11 race. I thought that was pretty cool with the little Volkswagen bugs rolling around. I mean, I wish the production was a little bit better because you couldn't really see anything, and even it was a short course, so you would think that they'd have it set up a little bit better. But it was nuts watching these dudes launch like 1990s Volkswagen Beetles 20 feet in the air and then landing, getting back straight, and then downshifting to get some speed again, then upshifting into the corner, and then it was sick. It really was very fun to watch.
Yeah, I
I don't
didn't get a chance to see any of that shit,
I
but
saw like the after clips, but I didn't watch it when it was happening. Honestly, I mean, I love the 44 class, the super mod, but I think the semi stock stuff is way more interesting to me because that just seems more attainable, right? I don't know if I'll ever build an Ultra 4 rig, but if I was gonna build one, it'd be a stock class one because it's doable.
yeah, I know a dude that ended up building one of them. He's like a trucker, if I remember correctly, and the thing's sick. It's a Cherokee that's all, well, obviously built, but like Dana 44s, 35s, and he beats the snot out of the thing, racing it at KOH.
That's pretty cool.
How do you even
As-
get into that? I'd love to know how.
I think you just have to apply for the racing series.
It's
Like
that
there's
easy.
they
Apply.
do. Well, no, because like you gotta think of it. It's kind of like motocross, where you have your nationals, which is like the best of the best, which is like your 4400 class. You have to win. You have to get certain points to access it. But I'm guessing it's pretty similar. You have to run some of their series beforehand, get your points up, win some races, prove who you are, and then probably apply.
Well, what is it? There's, oh God, Hack Shack Racing out of Massachusetts. I
Yep,
believe that
yep.
they just applied and got into it with you just have to have a vehicle that meets the class specs, and I believe you can race it.
Huh.
It's pretty accessible, and I know like when they were doing the racing at Roush, they were letting people that had vehicles that would qualify in on the stock class and whatnot.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, it'd be fun to do. My rig's not built for racing. It's built for dumb stuff. Like
It's built for driving to work.
it's built for those office drives and occasionally
Carpooling.
not out of off road for a week. But that's about it. I'd probably build something different if I was gonna actually build a race rig. I don't know about you guys, but
I wouldn't
I
build a
didn't- I didn't-
Cherokee.
I didn't build mine. I don't know if I'd build a Cherokee either. I think I'd probably go with something like a WJ. Honestly.
There was a lot of ZJs. I was watching a few.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would go for something like maybe an Explorer, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
You can have a lot of fun with a 5.0 and 1 tons go Burt. Everything else,
Not if you're stocked. You can't do 1 tons.
what is it? It might be I think the 40. You know what? You might be right. I might be misthinking about the classes. I think there's one where it's got to have like a stock body, and that's
Oh, I think that's your modified class.
okay.
I'm not too sure on the actual numbers, but just from what I was seeing, it's the modified class because the stock you have to have stock motor, stock transmission, stock frame, stock suspension
Yeah,
setup.
I wouldn't
See,
want to
that-
use an exploder on that, but for
No, 'cause
like
especially they
I
have to-
feel like it'd be fun as fuck to build for like a modified class. Just seeing
Yeah,
exploders yeeting.
It couldn't be a stock class. It'd have to be, allow you to change the axles, allow you to have at least a 37 or something, and require a
Allow you to
cage.
build a frame.
Not even. I mean, if at
Well,
least
for what
put
I was
stiffeners
talking about.
on. Oh, yeah.
That would just be dumbly fun.
Come on, unibodies, man. They fold and do. It's extra
Although-
suspension as it flexes, you know?
You know what though? I'll be brutally honest with you could build something with a ZJ and have a shit ton of fun, because if you bought a 9er, you could have a 5.9, slap some performance parts on there, and the limit is going to be, the actual engine itself. It's not like a straight 6 where, 190 horsepower. You could probably get one of those things up to like 350, 400 with a couple $1,000s worth of mods. And yeah, you got to use a stock. I don't know how closely they look at the rules, but you got to use a stock transmission, so either a 46 or a 727, I think it is, would probably work pretty damn well.
They use 727s in those things?
They didn't use 727s in those things. I'm just bending the rules a little bit and
I
trying
was going
to
to say.
Yeah,
slap.
because as long as it's Jeep, they probably couldn't say that much. You could probably put like JK axles under it, and they wouldn't. Well, I
Oh
don't know
no,
how
there are
crazy.
dudes that are running Super Duty axles under those things with 35s out there. Just because it's cheap and it doesn't blow up. They don't care what axles are under it. They care
True.
that you maintain the stock style suspension. So like that's why the Toyota guys, I don't know if you saw, but I think there was one this year. I know he raced last year. He's running all leaf springs on all the corners,
Yep.
and
Yes. It was red, right?
yep.
He broke on the climb, right, during qualifying? He broke
I'm
up
not
there, had to
sure, but I know he was running last year,
Yeah, I
and he
think
put in a good fucking race. I think he
That's wild.
DNF'd, but
I couldn't imagine running leaf springs through the desert like that. Fuck.
You can tune
Lee
leaf
Springs all four corners is fucking hilarious to think of.
You can tune leaf springs and get them to work pretty well. It's not.
yeah,
It's
it
not
starts
spoilover,
with
but-
something that sounds like beaver, but I think with a D.
Yeah.
And break out the credit
Beaver.
card
Oh,
and
look at-
cry.
Oh, here's the red.
Wait, really?
Yeah, look at it. Or,
Are you-
I don't know if I'm watching a
Yes, it
rerun
was
or what I'm
qualifying.
watching, but it's up there and it's got all four corners leaf, and it just bounced as it went off a jump.
That is so not what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, I must be watching a
It's
rerun.
probably
or
yesterday's
something.
qualifying.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, qualifying for.
I
That's
got a
second.
bunch of little cars going across the screen.
Yeah, this was.
Yeah, that's your class 11s right there. It's hard to see them, right?
No, I mean it's broad daylight.
Oh, then maybe you're watching UTVs. The Can-Am
I would love
special.
to build like a chase truck or something for that. I would have so much fun with that.
That'd be pretty
I feel like it would be more fun building that than the Ultra 4 car.
This is what I'm watching.
Oh,
Oh,
God,
what are those things?
what is that? Are you watching last year's race?
I don't know. I got what? I walked away from my TV for just a moment. What the fuck happened?
As long as it's not two girls in one cup, you're all right. Just
King
keep
of
it rolling.
Hammers 2020, the race.
Yeah.
But what are the
Wrong
What-
year,
what-
What
bucko.
happened to the live feed?
for the
It ended.
Oh,
for the
that
chase
would be
trucks?
Why?
What do those look like? Luke,
A truck with parts on
I
it.
do not know. I saw like rear track bars and all kinds of weirdness going on. I'm not familiar.
so it's not like a rock crawler. It's just like a, or is it?
The chase trucks are, if I remember right, are pretty much set up to run King of Hammers, but not like
Fast.
as a race.
Yeah, but they don't
Well,
like
it's
they don't run, say, Turkey Claw or Jackhammer. They'll like go to the desert areas around them. Because you got to keep in mind Johnson Valley's fucking huge.
Yeah.
yeah, but they're there to support the racers.
Yep.
So they have like extra tires, parts, fuel, tools, and shit like that
Mhm.
on the truck, and
Yeah, that
they
sounds-
literally just closely follow their designated. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah. Or
But they
scheduled
just
Cody removal.
follow their designated driver closely to make sure that they stay racing for as long as possible.
So can they go
Yeetus,
fast?
Deletus, Codius.
Are they like?
Yeah,
Okay.
they can go fast. Sometimes not as fast as the racers, but they also don't follow the exact same course as the racers, so
Mhm.
they can kind of they keep up pretty well.
Yeah, they're not doing the same obstacles. Probably doing easier.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a long one. I didn't think I was coming back from that one.
Yeah.
Welcome back, boyo.
Oh yeah, always good to be back. I was a little nervous though. The screen went very white. The TV turned off, and I'm like, ooh.
Oh, we should be fixing that soon, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, let
Well,
me
it was
know.
supposed to be Friday, but somebody decided to not come down.
Point Friday night, maybe. I don't know what you're up to, but I'm not
Yeah.
driving all the way to Springfield. But
Oh, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Well, the only problem is, do we need to have power?
what do you mean?
Wait, are you closer to Springfield at your place or your parents?
I'm closer currently,
Oh, okay. So
just because I'm off 90,
how far are you from me?
like an hour and 40.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Fuck it. Maybe I'll take the drive. Caitlin's coming up, so maybe we'll just take the drive over and We'll just set it all up and it'll be sick. Hopefully.
All right. Yeah. Just let me know, and then we won't have to deal with you crashing every single time.
That'd be exciting.
Yep.
I do find
it's
it
kind of
to
become
be
tradition.
Yeah, it
yeah.
has. Oh, Richie, I can probably get your stuff set up so we can get you on a proper recording setup as well.
That'd be awesome.
Yep. I can. I'll hand over the parts
That-
for.
Then
that.
I could stop sounding like fucking trash.
Sound pretty
Well,
good.
I mean, you are trash. Hey, did we cover you bought a truck?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think I
mentioned it, I
mentioned
thought.
something about it. How I was looking at the truck.
Did you pick it up
last
yet?
week. I did not pick it up. So Jeremy was kind enough because I got it from Jeremy. He was kind enough to tell me that I could keep the truck at his house because it's not in his way until I have it registered. So that way I could legally drive it the rough hour and a half back to my house.
Nice.
So I'm
Fair enough.
in the process of trying to get it registered right now. I'm currently just waiting to hear back from my insurance company. Because, you can't register of the vehicle without insurance on the vehicle. And
Yep.
they are currently dragging their ass because of the snowstorm from beginning of the week.
See, Geico's been good to me. They're just like, yep, here's a signature. You can just put the car on, pay the money every month, and they just tell you what piece of paper to print out. And you bring it to the RMV, and they're like, yeah,
RMV1 form.
cool. Yep,
Yeah.
RMV1.
Yeah.
Well, it's
If you need a ride out there, I got you. I can use an
Who,
excuse
me?
to go and yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. I was actually going to ask you about that one once I actually had a set time, but it's like, yeah, I'm going to go get the truck now.
Yeah,
I
I
was
could
gonna
totally
ask
go
you
get drunk at
first.
Jeremy's.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, you
Um,
can't because you gotta drive home. I'm gonna crash on the couch.
I
There
could
you
have
go.
a beer. I could have a beer, okay? I like to have beer with people.
Understandable.
Oh,
So, do you
sorry.
think they run Johnny joints or Heim joints on some of these rigs?
Honestly, I'm gonna go with yes. Probably all of the
Okay.
above. I mean, it depends on the driver, it depends on the budget. I mean, you could spend more on Heims than you could spend on Johnny joints, depending
Yep.
on how much money you want to put into it. If you're running some FK special Teflon fucking, super fucking joint, it might end up or chromoly super joint, it might end up costing more than the fucking Johnny joint. I don't know. Just a thought.
True.
I was gonna say it probably depends on the class that you're racing in and the driver's financial sitch.
Although I will
Well-
say I'm looking at picking up a set of Johnny joints for my lower links in the rear.
I have a couple if you want them.
Are they in okay shape?
They're brand fucking new. I
Oh.
expect some. But-
Let's make some off the podcast discussions happen.
$10. Hey, we got $10 up to looking for $12, looking for $13.
They're brand new.
$14. Okay.
I built the shit out of them for like 3 years, and they're still. I bought them to
17.
potentially replace the ones that I've had on my rig for years, and they don't give a fuck. They're still perfectly fine. So I just have 2 brand new ones sitting. So if you want them, I'll give them to you for a discount.
Sounds good.
Huh.
We'll talk about that off the podcast.
Hmm.
But yeah, fucking. So if you were building a KOH rig though, like what class would you be building for?
Like right now or like dreaming? Because
We're gonna take the shackles of reality off, and we all bought the game stonks, and they went through the roof. 2022.
In that case, of course, I'd build the no limits
4400?
test. Yeah,
Yeah.
the 4400.
I don't know. I feel like
I would say
Fuck's fuck.
modified.
I would be tempted to build in like the 4800 class because you can have a lot of fun with that, and there's no stickies in it. So I feel like that would be fun.
I feel like it'd be more fun doing stock. Just like bare bones, you're sleeping in a tent, waking up, drinking a beer, hopping in your shit box, and going, all right, I'm here to fuck shit up and whatever the other part of the term is.
See,
I don't know.
that's my mindset, but for the modified class, where it's like a little bit more than just stock.
Yeah,
Showing
I
up,
guess you're right.
getting drunk on Jack Daniels or Captain Morgan because you got the blang blang and you don't need that there natty ice.
Fuck Natty Ice. I fucking hate that shit. I will take water over Natty Ice any day.
Yeah, it's just more calories than the natty ice. It's the same thing though.
Exactly.
I don't know. Like in reality, it'd probably just be the stock class. I feel like it'd be more fun. But you look at some of these 4400 series trucks, and it's just like that's badass. You have your Legends class, which are pretty much 5 years old 4400 series trucks. So it's like, I don't know. It's tough to say. Having all the horsepower and tires would be sick, though. Being stuck on 37-inch non-stickies would suck. And, well, if I was in the stock, it'd be 35 non-stickies.
I'm just gonna say it, Nitto Trail Grapplers got the W's, so just hit it and
Nitto
yeet
also
us.
lost their sponsor, though, for KoH this year, so...
They still got the most W's.
Yeah, but
Is there a story behind that,
why they lost their sponsor or why they have the most wins?
or why they lost their sponsorship?
Oh, it's probably just their contract ended, and Toyo's out there just fucking throwing money out there. I'm surprised it's not
Well,
Vulcan.
Toyo and Nitto are owned by the same company,
So
so
maybe they just spread the
So
love
we've got
this
some
year.
like
yeah, they
Ford
just
chess
kind of
going on. It's like, oh yeah, I love Nittos, but Toyo's coming in.
yeah.
Actually,
Well, they're
Hey,
Nitto owns Toyo if I remember, or Toyo owns Nitto. I'm sorry if I remember correctly because
Just like Continental owns General
Yeah.
Grabber or General Tires.
hey, are you guys watching this? They are running the fucking new Bronco on their qualifying course right now.
Yeah, that's BJ Ball. Or no, that's
Wait,
not BJ Baldwin. That's
is
fucking
the- Live stream back up?
No, he's probably just watching a rerun of it. It's
Oh,
Von
Yeah,
Gittin and
probably.
Lauren or whatever, I forget his name. It's Lindsay or Lauren running it because they're getting that forward money, so they're out in the Bronco. They actually did a really cool video not too long ago of like a head-to-head battle. They both ran a course in a Ranger, then they both ran it in a modified Ranger, and then they both ran it in their own personal trucks. It was a really exciting video to watch.
yeah, I think we sort of went over it, but I'll say it again. New Ranger, or not Ranger, the new Bronco is honestly like that's an exciting platform to have available. The
yeah.
fact that
See,
they have a two-door,
I-
they have a fucking two-door. Thank
I
God.
like the new Bronco. I don't like the Bronco Sport.
I don't know the difference. I don't know.
The Bronco sports like a Renegade version of the Bronco
Oh yeah, fuck that.
compared
Ooh.
to a
Yeah.
Cherokee.
I don't like the
Eh.
IFS in the Bronco. IFS to me is just dumb.
I mean, IFS has its place, and let's be realistic here when we are being objective and looking at it. It's amazing that the Wrangler is still solid front axle.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
The majority
sure.
of people that are buying these are going to be far happier with the comfort than
True.
care about a solid front axle. We're random weird extremists in the automotive world, and this podcast is really far on that spectrum because we got two 1-ton Cherokees. So,
Hey, it's gonna be 3 this year.
yeah, you ain't wrong. Cody's got
I'll pay when I
1-tons.
see it. I
Cody
got.
technically has an axle at his disposal, and you have two. You have, both the
I
axle.
have the 14 bolt and I have the 60 that I just have to buy. My thing is right now is my rig works. I could just do little things and then
Yeah,
put
until
bigger
it blows
axles.
up, I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
If
I'm
you have
having-
like catastrophic gear failure, which you won't,
I hope so.
boom,
I
then
want
you
some.
need
I
to-
want some explosions. I want
you're
some.
not gonna
things.
have it.
I
Your Theta
am
30 wasn't geared as shitty
actively
as mine
piecing
was.
together the shit to do the 1-ton swap. I am actively doing it.
I'm
Nice.
still trying to convince him to go 05 plus or to sell me the 05 plus truss and take my axle.
I seriously might just go 05 plus. I mean, they're fucking cheap enough at the junkyards.
Except for Luke was literally talking me off a ledge when I was talking about buying 05 plus. He's like, it's not worth it. There's no point. Why do you need it? Blah blah
There's
blah
a
blah blah.
point. There's a point. Factory 35 spline.
Oh, no, but also, like, if I'm going to be doing that, I want to just pop the tubes out. There's enough
Luke
room.
regrets his
No.
purchase.
If I'm going to be a fucking absolute retard and re-sleeve it with half-inch wall tubing, that's being a complete and utter retard and not dealing with stock brackets.
Meh. I don't know.
I'm just gonna throw Yukon hardcore locking hubs on mine. Blow the shit out of that ring and pinion because they're not happy as they sit. See, I only
Yours?
shitly gear my own gears. It wasn't my fault. They were re-geared before me, and they were done horribly. And I did what I could.
Hey Luke, who re-geared that axle?
Jeremy.
Oh.
Oh,
Bum
what?
bum bum.
Graham's axle or
No,
mine?
Yeah.
not my axle.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about your
Graham-
Dana 50.
I won't name names, but
No,
Yeah,
I had four
Oh, it was
11s
Rob.
in it.
It was
What?
Rob. Wasn't
no,
it?
Rob
that was
didn't do my axle. No, I'm
Oh,
sure Rob takes pictures.
Rob
of
does shit
sets.
work.
He
Yeah,
does
we
good work.
forgot. Shit work.
No,
got
Rob
it.
does good work. I trust an axle setup by Rob.
He stopped
Yeah.
drinking and he stopped being cool. I don't like Rob anymore. He makes me sad. He only likes the cool rock crawler guys. He doesn't like us little guys anymore.
No, he still comes around sometimes. You guys just don't come out to enough events. I saw
Oh,
Joe for any of you because I actually went to shit.
he
Everybody else
invited you and you rode with him. I don't want to hear
I
it.
did. He blew up spectacularly. It was great. Hmm.
Hey, I
uh,
can't
I
say
lost my
anything
train of
because I can't keep a 4.0 in my rig. That's why I lost the majority of the trips last season.
Yeah, you other slackers. You just gotta
true.
keep your rig
I'm
running.
sorry.
He's got a
I keep
60. Can't keep his motor running.
I just
got a
keep
50.
grenading my
Did you
fucking
say mud? You can't keep his mud running?
motor.
running.
Oh, I was like, what? It's like that makes no sense, but okay.
No, I'm pretty sure that my Jeep only missed 2 events last year, and I missed 1.
I missed 2, and I went to
Well,
them, but my Jeep was not there.
The time I rode in Jucket was an NEA meeting, which nobody likes going to, just because they're not generally that fun. I don't know
Huh.
why people don't want to go to them because there's always wheeling afterwards. As long as you sign up close enough, you can get in and go. And I didn't want to wheel my rig. I forget why I didn't want to. There was something going on with it that I didn't want to beat on it. So I was like, I'll just ride with you because you've got a buggy. And we rode in the buggy and broke the buggy like 15 minutes into the trail. So that was fun. It was like bad break, like 2 hours getting it out of the rock garden. Fun.
My thing is, every time there's an NEA meeting, I pop a 4-liter.
Well,
So,
I recommend you all go if you haven't gone to one.
I definitely
They're,
want to go show my
It's
face.
kind
It'd
of cool
probably
to
be a
see
good
how
idea.
everything works, and being able to wheel afterwards is always a plus.
Unfortunately, none of the NEA meetings have worked out with my schedule, you know?
Yeah. No, it can be tough. They're either in a really far off location. The one I went to with Rob was in
Connecticut.
Jericho, right?
was it in Connecticut or was
I
it
thought it
in
was Jericho.
Rhode Island?
I thought that was like just barely in Connecticut. It's over by Rhode Island, but it's just barely
Okay.
in Connecticut.
Yeah, and I think
Wait, didn't you go to Jericho with him though? Jericho Mountain?
me?
Yeah.
No, we were at Chutes and Ladders. I